Sagittarius. The 5 magical symbols of your sign and their hidden meaning. Part 1. The arrow and the bow, the glyph of direction and destiny. Sagittarius, listen closely. The arrow and the bow of your sign are not mere drawings from the stars. They are the sacred language of movement and truth written into your very soul. That curved line and its straight twin form the map of your essence. Tension and release, focus and flight, earth and sky united in one eternal motion. Each time your spirit stretches toward something greater, the bow is drawn again inside you, and your destiny readies its aim. You are the archer of the Zodiac, born with one task: to aim higher than illusion. To live as a bridge between instinct and purpose, between passion and principle. The bow is your conscience. The arrow is your will. When they align, you pierce through confusion like light through fog. But when they fall out of sync, when your desires scatter without aim, your fire burns wild, consuming rather than creating. That is the secret of your glyph. Mastery begins where impulse meets intention. Each arrow you release carries a vibration. Your thoughts, your choices, your words all become arrows. Once loose, they never return. The question is not whether you will shoot, but whether you will aim. Every idea you send into the world will eventually find its mark. So choose carefully, Sagittarius. Your honesty can heal or wound. Your enthusiasm can inspire or overwhelm. Your fire can light paths or set them ablaze. The bow reminds you that power without direction becomes destruction. The 2 lines of your glyph also reveal an ancient promise. The archer's discipline is not to conquer but to understand. You don't shoot to destroy. You shoot to reveal truth. The target is never another person. It is illusion itself. Your bow pulls against resistance because wisdom is born in that tension. Without the stretch, there's no precision. Without the pullback, there's no reach. The universe draws you back not to punish but to prepare. When life feels like it's pulling you in the opposite direction, remember, that's the moment before release. Trust the draw. It means destiny is loading your next flight. Close your eyes for a second. Feel the invisible string between your ribs and the horizon. Feel how your heartbeat synchronizes with it. That pulse is the rhythm of your purpose. Each inhale draws the bow. Each exhale releases the arrow. This is not fantasy. This is your elemental truth. Breath as aim, decision as motion. And in that rhythm lives your entire life story. You were born under fire that doesn't burn down. It illuminates. But fire without awareness blinds. The arrow teaches you precision. The bow teaches you patience. Your lesson is to merge both, to strike only when your inner compass points true. Many times you've acted too quickly, speaking before thinking, chasing before grounding. That was the immature fire of the early archer, the one who mistook speed for strength. But now you are older, wiser. You understand that waiting doesn't dull your passion. It sharpens your power. Sagittarius, your bow hums with energy that responds to your faith. The more you trust your intuition, the straighter your arrow flies. Doubt bends the trajectory. Belief clears the air. When you hesitate out of fear, the string slackens and your potential falters. But when you align your fire with purpose, when you move from conviction rather than reaction, the universe itself becomes your wind, carrying your intentions farther than you could imagine. Some will misunderstand your drive. They'll call it arrogance or restlessness because they cannot fathom what it means to live in constant dialogue with horizons. But you know this truth: to stop aiming forward is to betray your nature. You weren't made to dwell in safety. You were made to explore the infinite. The bow in your glyph curves like a question, and the arrow answers it through movement. Every time you follow your curiosity, you complete the sacred symbol of your sign. Remember this, Sagittarius. When you aim with love, you never miss. The bow obeys the archer who knows their heart. The arrow guided by truth never wounds what it's meant to touch. Each act of courage sends ripples through reality. Your thoughts become paths, your faith becomes form. You've already proven this many times without even noticing. The dreams that once seemed impossible? They weren't luck. They were arrows released long ago, finally reaching their mark. But beware the arrows of anger and pride. Words spoken in heat carry far. And sometimes they strike what you didn't intend. Power is a sacred responsibility. The bow reminds you to breathe before release. Patience is not weakness, it's trajectory. Now, Sagittarius, whisper this quietly. Not as a spell but as remembrance. I, Sagittarius, Aim my life at truth and release what stalls my flight. My words are arrows of clarity. My silence is the strength of my bow. Let that decree vibrate in your chest. Because every time you say it, your life realigns toward purpose. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are calibrating your aim. And every challenge pulling you backward is simply tension before destiny's release. When you walk through your days, imagine that bow always with you. Invisible yet alive, humming in your aura. Each conversation, each decision, each dream is another arrow ready to fly. Don't waste them on distraction or revenge. Save them for creation, for revelation, for truth. The world doesn't need another fighter. It needs an archer who knows why they shoot. And you, Sagittarius, were born to remember that why. Part 2: The Centaur Paradox. Human and wild. Sagittarius, your body and spirit were forged from paradox. Half human, half beast, the centaur is not just your emblem. It's your living mirror. You are intellect and instinct, fire and philosophy, freedom and focus in one restless form. Every time you try to choose between your mind and your heart, your logic and your hunger, your order and your wildness, you forget that your true strength lies in their union. You were not born to silence one half of yourself, but to teach them to move together like rhythm and melody. The centaur is the lesson that civilization and wilderness are not enemies. They are twin flames within the same body. The human in you looks up, seeking meaning among the stars. The wild horse beneath you charges forward, seeking movement across the earth. And between those two desires, to know and to go, your destiny gallops. You live to explore the connection between heaven and ground, thought and action, faith and experience. That is why you cannot stand still for long. Your soul itches for distance, not as escape but as discovery. Many have tried to tame your fire, to label you as inconsistent or uncontrollable, because they don't understand what it means to carry both scholar and storm inside the same heart. But you were never meant to fit into predictable patterns. You were born to blur the lines between them. You are both the student and the teacher, the wanderer and the sage, the one who asks the questions and the one who becomes the answer. Still, the centaur's duality can wound you when unbalanced. When you let your human half dominate, you become trapped in overthinking, analyzing every step until your spirit grows weary. But when the wild half takes over, you can run so fast that you lose direction, chasing sensation instead of purpose. Both extremes exhaust you. The secret, Sagittarius, is harmony. Learning to let instinct move with consciousness, to let wisdom guide your fire rather than extinguish it. Your hips, thighs, and legs, those sacred Sagittarian regions, are your compass. When they ache or feel heavy, it is your soul's way of saying, you've lost rhythm with your own nature. Movement is your medicine, but direction is your discipline. Walking clears your mind, running frees your heart, but stillness is where you find meaning. Don't fear the pauses between adventures, they are part of the rhythm too. Even the wild horse rests before the next dawn. The centaur carries a bow not to harm, but to symbolize alignment, mind, body, and spirit drawing in unison. When your intentions, emotions, and actions move together, your energy becomes unstoppable. But when they split, you scatter power like sparks in the wind. You must learn the sacred art of aim within motion. To run wild while staying centered, to act fiercely while remaining kind. This is the mastery of your paradox, passion guided by purpose. Your hunger for truth has always been misunderstood as rebellion. Yet, rebellion is merely your way of refusing to live in half-light. You sense hypocrisy instantly, and your soul revolts against smallness. You crave authenticity, the raw pulse of life that reminds you the world is alive. That's why you're drawn to people who are intense, spontaneous, sometimes even chaotic. They mirror your inner flame. But remember, Sagittarius, not everyone running is moving forward. Choose companions whose fire adds warmth to your journey, not smoke to your vision. You will often feel torn between settling down and running away, between building roots and chasing horizons. That tension is not your flaw. It's your genius. Because each time you return from a journey, you bring back something invisible. A truth, a story, a wisdom that changes those who listen. You are not inconsistent. You are a rhythm of expansion and return. Like breath, like seasons, like fire that flickers yet never dies. In your darkest moments when you feel wild and misunderstood, remember this. Your chaos is holy. It is not the sign of failure but of aliveness. You carry too much light to fit into a single shape. That is why you transform. From teacher to traveler, from dreamer to doer, from philosopher to firekeeper. You are not lost. You are evolving in plain sight. When rage or frustration rise, when your body tightens as if ready to sprint, pause. Feel the centaur in you gather both halves. The wild horse breathing under the steady gaze of the human. Let that image center you. You are not meant to fight between them. You are meant to ride their unity. Now repeat this quietly like a heartbeat returning to balance. I, Sagittarius, honor the wild and the wise within me. My instincts serve my vision, and my vision protects my fire. Let those words settle into your muscles, into the bones of your thighs, into the pulse that carries you forward. Because when you walk from that alignment, the world shifts to meet you. You no longer run from your nature, you ride it. And that is your true freedom. Not escape but integration. The Centaur's secret was never about speed. It was about harmony, the moment when every part of you moves in the same direction. That is the miracle that happens when you stop fighting yourself. So, the next time life splits you between logic and longing, don't choose one, choose both. Be the bridge. Be the union. Be the proof that instinct and intellect can coexist without war. Because Sagittarius, when your human and wild halves finally gallop as one, you don't just move forward, you move worlds. Part 3 Mutable Fire. Your elemental engine. Sagittarius, your essence is fire that moves. Not the steady hearth that stays in one place, nor the destructive wildfire that devours everything in its path, but the wandering flame that lights new roads wherever it goes. You are mutable fire, the element that transforms experience into understanding, chaos into revelation. It's why you're drawn to beginnings, to journeys, to questions that have no final answer. Your soul burns for expansion, not to dominate but to explore. The universe itself entrusted you with one task, to keep discovery alive. The energy of mutable fire is restless, and you know this intimately. You feel it in your chest at night, in that heartbeat that races for no reason, in that need to move even when there's nowhere to go. That's your cosmic fire, reminding you that your life's mission isn't to stay comfortable, but to stay awake. But awareness requires balance, and fire without focus quickly consumes. You must learn the difference between motion and progress. You've spent lifetimes running. Now you must learn when to walk, when to pause, and when to burn brighter. Fire doesn't exist without air, Sagittarius. Breath is your sacred control. It is how you channel flame into direction. That's why your temper and your passion live so close together. One breath can turn excitement into argument, inspiration into explosion. You are ruled by Jupiter, planet of expansion, and that expansion begins with breath. Every time you exhale consciously, you remind your fire who's in command. Inhale power. Exhale precision. That is your alchemy. You've often been told to calm down, to slow your fire, to stop being too much. But the truth is, the world needs your warmth. It only asks that you learn the sacred rhythm of flame, to glow without burning out, to illuminate without blinding. Fire doesn't apologize for existing, and neither should you. But you must understand your gift. Fire is movement, but its maturity is awareness. The young archer shoots arrows everywhere. The wise one chooses one target, one purpose, and burns with intention until the goal is done. Think of your element as an eternal teacher. Every blaze begins with friction, the spark that comes from resistance. Your life works the same way. The moments that frustrate you most are also the ones that refine your power. You are learning to use conflict not as destruction, but as ignition. The more you align your reactions with meaning, the more unstoppable your growth becomes. Mutable fire means you never stay burned. You rise through your own ashes. There's a sacred practice hidden in your element, the pause before release. The breath between bow and arrow, between question and answer, between anger and response. That single moment of awareness is the difference between fire as weapon and fire as light. Try this in your daily rhythm. When your emotions flare, don't rush. Take 3 slow breaths. In the first, feel your chest expand. In the second, name your truth. In the third, aim it with purpose. Then speak. Then act. That is how you turn reaction into revelation. Fire also lives in your body, especially in your hips and thighs, the Sagittarius zones of motion. When they tighten or ache, it's not random. It's energy waiting for expression. Stretch, walk, dance, or run, not to escape but to circulate. Each movement rekindles the flame in its rightful flow. The stillness you avoid isn't punishment. It's the forge where your wisdom is tempered. When your body moves with your breath, you don't just release tension. You align heaven and earth within you. Mutable fire is also joy, pure, unfiltered, contagious. It's laughter after hardship, curiosity after disappointment, faith after failure. You are ruled by optimism, but even optimism must be tended like a fire. It needs wood, gratitude, discipline, purpose, or it burns out. Cynicism is simply fire that forgot its meaning. When you feel your light dim, don't search for new sparks. Return to your reason for burning. Ask yourself, what am I igniting for? The answer reignites everything. Your greatest danger is scattering your energy, starting too many fires at once. Because your enthusiasm is endless, you can pour yourself into every idea, every person, every possibility, until your flame thins and flickers. The universe doesn't need you everywhere. It needs you present. Choose the flames that feed your spirit, not the ones that drain it. Focus is your fuel. When your attention aligns with your purpose, you burn through obstacles like dawn through fog. Sagittarius, mutable fire is also transformation through storytelling. You don't just live, you translate. Every experience becomes a lesson. Every wound becomes wisdom. That's why others are drawn to you. Your words ignite hope. Your voice carries warmth that melts resistance. You speak not as preacher, but as traveler who's seen the road. Your truth lands because it's lived, not memorized. When you tell your story, you turn flame into illumination for others. And when the night comes, those moments when your fire flickers low and silence surrounds you, don't fear it. That darkness is the hearth cooling before the next spark. You are not extinguished, you are integrating. Even when you doubt yourself, the flame waits patiently beneath the ashes. It knows you will rise again because that's your nature. Now repeat this decree within. I, Sagittarius, am mutable fire. I transform every challenge into movement, every emotion into wisdom, every spark into direction. My breath is my control. My purpose is my flame. Let those words settle deep into your solar plexus. Feel the warmth spread. You are not chasing your fire anymore. You are becoming it. This is your awakening. Realizing that every experience, even the painful ones, was fuel meant to refine your light. And when others see you now, they will sense something different. Not wild flame but sacred fire. Not reaction but revelation. You've learned the art of burning without being consumed. That is the secret of your element, Sagittarius. You are not here to destroy or to follow. You are here to illuminate the path itself. Part 4, Jupiter, ruler of wisdom and horizon. Sagittarius, every time you look at the sky and feel your heart expand, that's Jupiter whispering through your spirit. It's the planet of vastness, of vision, of possibilities that seem to stretch beyond the visible. While others seek comfort in certainty, you thrive in the unknown. You were born under a ruler who doesn't build walls. Jupiter builds worlds. It governs abundance, truth, and divine timing, teaching you that fortune isn't found in possession, but in perception. When your mind widens, life follows. Jupiter's energy is not gentle. It's a storm of revelation disguised as opportunity. It asks you to see the bigger picture, even when your feet are covered in dust. It's why your path often feels like a constant expansion. New places, new faces, new ideas, each one testing whether your faith can keep up with your curiosity. The universe gives you more not because you are lucky, but because you dare to believe that more is possible. That belief, Sagittarius, is your true wealth. Jupiter's gift is perspective, the ability to look at pain and see a lesson instead of a punishment. Every disappointment in your life was Jupiter's classroom, teaching you discernment, teaching you to trade bitterness for wisdom. That is how expansion works. It doesn't always mean growth that looks beautiful. Sometimes it's growing beyond what once defined you. Sometimes it's realizing you've outgrown the dream that used to drive you. And that awareness, painful as it may be, is still grace. The horizon is Jupiter's altar, and you are its pilgrim. The planet calls you to move, not just across landscapes but across states of mind. You travel because stillness suffocates you. Yet even as you wander, Jupiter reminds you that expansion without reflection becomes excess. To move meaningfully, you must ask, why am I seeking? The journey itself must be sacred, not just the destination. Every time you chase wisdom without grounding, Jupiter sends you back to humility. Not as punishment, but to remind you that enlightenment means nothing without empathy. This planet rules teachers, philosophers, mentors, and you, Sagittarius, carry all three archetypes. But even the teacher must keep learning, especially from silence. Jupiter rewards faith, but it tests arrogance. The moment you believe you've seen it all, life will surprise you. The moment you assume you know best, Jupiter will humble you with another horizon. The key is to stay curious without losing discipline, to expand without inflating. Your relationship with abundance is spiritual, not material. True prosperity arrives when your actions align with your ethics. Jupiter multiplies what you believe in, so if you believe in lack, you will see more lack. If you believe in generosity, life overflows. You are not here to hoard. You are here to circulate blessings. Each time you give without fear, the flow returns tenfold. Because Jupiter's magic is not accumulation. It's expansion through circulation. Sagittarius, your luck has always felt mysterious to others. They call it coincidence when the right door opens, the right person appears, or the right words come at the perfect time. But you know better. That isn't luck. That's alignment. Jupiter moves through your chart like a cosmic compass, responding to your vibration. When your intentions are clean and your motives sincere, the universe conspires to deliver. When they're clouded by ego, it pauses, not to deny but to redirect. You've learned that every delay has meaning. The opportunities that never came were not rejections, they were redirections. Jupiter protects your long-term destiny, even if it means denying short-term desires. The heartbreaks that hurt you most were Jupiter's lessons in disguise, teaching you the difference between expansion and escape. Because not everything that opens is meant for entry, and not everyone who smiles carries sincerity. The bigger your light, the greater your need for discernment. You also carry the archetype of the preacher, passionate, eloquent, sometimes excessive. You love to share your vision, to inspire others, to ignite hope. But remember, wisdom doesn't need to shout. When you speak from calm conviction instead of fiery urgency, your words travel farther. Jupiter amplifies your voice. It's your responsibility to tune it to truth. And what of faith, Sagittarius? Yours is not the blind faith of repetition. It's the lived faith of the traveler. You believe because you've tested life and found meaning in its mysteries. When others need proof, you sense patterns. When others see chaos, you see divine timing. That is Jupiter's pulse inside you. A knowing that things unfold not by accident, but by orchestration. Even your detours were part of the route. But Jupiter also asks something of you: boundaries. Because endless giving, endless movement, endless belief can lead to burnout. The rescuer's guilt runs deep in you. That need to uplift everyone. To be the eternal optimist, even when your soul is exhausted. But you are not responsible for saving anyone who refuses their own light. Jupiter's generosity is not martyrdom. It's overflow, not depletion. So learn to say no, not as rejection, but as protection for your peace. The teacher must rest. The flame must refuel. The archer cannot shoot with a broken string. Remember, restraint is not lack of faith. It is reverence for energy. Now whisper this decree within. I, Sagittarius, welcome vastness that honors my peace. My growth is grounded. My generosity flows from fullness, not exhaustion. Feel that sentence anchor you. Because your expansion doesn't need to hurt. You don't need to burn out to prove your brightness. Jupiter teaches joyful growth, expansion through ease, abundance through integrity. And when you stand beneath the night sky, tracing the endless curve of stars, remember this: Jupiter's gift isn't the destination you'll reach. It's the ability to see infinity wherever you stand. That vision, Sagittarius, is your true blessing. Part 5: Royal Blue, Turquoise, Tin and the Open Road. Sagittarius, your spirit was born under the color of the sky, royal blue. And its sacred twin, turquoise. These are not random shades. They are frequencies, codes of your soul that mirror your deepest truth. Royal blue is the vibration of clarity, the tone of a mind that sees far beyond appearances. Turquoise is serenity in motion, calm that walks, wisdom that travels. Together they form the palette of your essence. Courage wrapped in composure, power dressed in peace. Whenever you wear these colors, or even imagine them glowing around your body, you awaken the vibration of Jupiter itself. The deep blue stabilizes your thoughts, reminding you that truth needs patience to unfold. The turquoise cools your flame, ensuring your fire warms instead of burns. You are mutable fire, you don't need to dim, you need to channel. And these hues are your tools, invisible yet tangible, like banners waving from your aura saying, I am guided, not lost. If you close your eyes and visualize royal blue light encircling your head, you'll feel your mind clear. It's the same clarity you find standing on a mountain, looking over valleys of possibility. The world feels wide, not heavy. That sensation is your natural state. Open, vast, and curious. You've spent years confusing calm with boredom, but calm is your true courage. It's what allows you to listen to your own wisdom instead of reacting to noise. And turquoise, that radiant blue-green, it is your second pulse. It hums like the wind before sunrise, a whisper of stillness that never stops moving. When life becomes loud, imagine that color flowing through your hips and thighs, cooling your restlessness, translating your anxiety into rhythm. That is how your energy resets. Through motion made graceful. You were never meant to sit in one place for long. The turquoise current inside you is the stream that turns chaos into direction. Your ruling metal, tin, is another key to your power. It is the metal of conductivity, flexibility, and expansion, just like you. Tin doesn't shatter when struck. It bends and endures. It harmonizes easily with other elements, merging without losing its nature. That's your secret strength, Sagittarius. Adaptability without compromise. You change forms, cross cultures, evolve endlessly, but your essence stays the same. Honest, free, radiant. Tin symbolizes your capacity to connect ideas, people, and beliefs across boundaries. When worn, it reminds your spirit to remain fluid, to let wisdom travel through you like electricity through wire. You may feel drawn to objects of tin, silver, or polished blue stones without knowing why. It's your energy recognizing its reflection. The metal hums to your frequency, amplifying intuition while grounding optimism. It's Jupiter's fingerprint on Earth. A reminder that your luck is forged through faith, not force. And what of the open road, Sagittarius? It is your truest temple. Every path you take, dusty or glittering, straight or winding, becomes a prayer when you walk it consciously. The road is your altar of renewal, the mirror where your freedom takes shape. The open road represents the movement of your soul between ignorance and understanding. You walk not to escape but to expand. Every sunrise you chase, every horizon you reach, writes another verse of your personal scripture. When your legs ache and your breath grows thin, the road whispers back. You are not running from life. You are running with it. And that is your greatest wisdom. You never separate from existence. You move through it. You learn not by reading but by roaming. Not by believing but by experiencing. The universe speaks in signs: a bird's sudden flight, a stranger's kindness, a cloud shaped like an arrow. And you, Sagittarius, are fluent in its language. Every object you encounter on your journeys, a stone, a coin, a leaf, a note, can become a talisman if you give it meaning. Your power lies not in ritual complexity but in pure intention. Jupiter doesn't need ornate ceremonies. It responds to sincerity. If you light a candle, let it represent your next adventure. If you hold a turquoise stone, let it remind you that serenity travels with you. If you write a decree, let it sound like movement itself. I, Sagittarius, walk beneath a limitless sky. My faith is my compass, my calm is my courage, and every road I take leads me home. Let that vibration surround you. Feel the royal blue crown your thoughts like twilight, the turquoise fill your breath like ocean wind, the tin glimmer quietly like wisdom disguised as simplicity. These aren't symbols to worship. They are mirrors to remember. Each one reflects an aspect of you. Blue for clarity, turquoise for peace, tin for adaptability, the road for eternal freedom. When you doubt yourself, return to them. Picture yourself standing at dawn, the horizon wide open, your bow resting lightly in your hand. The royal blue sky above mirrors your mind, vast and ready. The turquoise light of morning ripples across your skin, soft, infinite, forgiving. The road hums beneath your feet, alive, guiding, endless. That's the moment when you remember who you are. The teacher who learns, the traveler who leads, the fire that moves. Your symbols were never meant to be hidden in books. They live in every breath, every step, every risk you take toward truth. They are your companions through every storm, whispering what your heart already knows. You were never lost. You were only expanding. Epilogue, your horizon says yes. Sagittarius, the symbols have spoken, the bow and arrow, the Centaur's duality, the mutable flame, the vastness of Jupiter, and the royal blue road of freedom. Each one isn't an image to be admired. It's a mirror, showing you that your destiny was never about control. It's about movement aligned with meaning. You were never meant to live a small story. You were born to live one that spans horizons. The horizon itself has always called to you, hasn't it? That line where sky and earth touch, glowing like a promise you can almost reach. That call is not random. It's the memory of your soul. The whisper of lifetimes spent chasing truth until truth began chasing you. Every time you followed curiosity instead of fear, you answered that horizon. Every time you refused to repeat the same mistake, you widened it. Every time you chose freedom over familiarity, it said your name in light. Now the horizon calls again. Not as distance but as destiny. The road ahead hums with colors of royal blue and gold, the signature of your ruler Jupiter. The air smells of new beginnings. The weight of old stories lifts from your shoulders like dust shaken from a traveler's cloak. You've passed the tests, the aim, the balance, the transformation, the faith, the stillness in motion. The only question that remains is, will you keep walking? Do not fear what you don't yet see. The horizon doesn't reveal itself all at once. It opens with every courageous step. You've learned that faith is not waiting for proof. It's walking even when the map is invisible. And as you walk, the path forms beneath your feet. That's the secret of Jupiter's luck. It follows motion. The universe rewards those who dare to move in truth. Sagittarius, your freedom is sacred, but it is not rebellion for rebellion's sake. It is purpose, the responsibility to use your fire wisely. You have the rare gift of turning experience into philosophy, chaos into compassion. You remind the world that wisdom doesn't live in books alone. It lives in the way we live, love, and learn from the infinite. As this message ends, remember that the road doesn't. You will see your symbols again. In the color of the dawn, in the rhythm of your stride, in the laughter that breaks silence after struggle. Every time you trust your direction, they awaken. Every time you share your truth with courage, they shine. Now speak this final decree with the calm certainty of someone who knows. I, Sagittarius, am the traveler and the teacher. My fire is faith, my path is truth, my horizon says yes. Wherever I go, expansion follows. Let that echo through your chest. Feel it in your breath, your heartbeat, your stride. That is not imagination, it's activation. You've become the living embodiment of your symbols. You are not separate from them anymore. You are the arrow, the flame, the teacher, the road. And wherever your story continues, the universe already bends to greet you. Your horizon says yes.